Hi, I'm Realtor Bert Tade. In my 10 plus years of real estate, I find that there are a lot of questions that get asked along the way when one of my clients is going to buy or sell a home with me. However, today's video is to talk a little bit about some of those unasked questions that perhaps you haven't even thought of before, right? Well, I want to be a resource to you in your home purchase or your home sale. And perhaps these unasked questions when selling a home might be of service to you in the future. So we don't want to miss opportunities, and you don't like surprises because those typically should be reserved for birthdays and anniversaries, things of that nature, right? Holidays, gift giving, that kind of thing, but not when you're selling a home. So there are some important questions that I would suggest that you ask, and you might forget to ask. This is number one, and that is, how can I increase my home's marketability? Well, you know what? Small improvements could make a lot of difference to home buyers, and that's one thing one answer I would give, and I would say that simple fixes such as fresh paint, landscaping, and staging can significantly improve a home's appeal and certainly the selling price, right? The curb appeal is so important. I tell everybody the same thing when I'm consulting with them on the listing side, and that is that you never get a second chance to make a first impression. 98% of home buyers are online now. That's 98 out of 100 people. So we have to have a robust presence online, because that is putting our first and best foot forward in listing the home for sale and introducing it to the marketplace, right? Those first 2 weeks are the most critical in terms of showings. And it's so important because they say that about 70% of the showings happen within the first 2 weeks. So pricing the home correctly and having it look top notch. If you want to get top dollar for the house, it has to look top dollar. There's no halfway doing this, guys, and there should not be a situation where you ask your realtor, well, can you have the photographer come back? Let's just get it listed right now, and then let's get more pictures taken later. Number one, you're going to drive them up the wall because the photographer's going to charge them another fee to come back out and take the pictures. But more importantly, forget about the money aspect. How about the fact that home buyers have already seen the property online, and there were still kind of some changes being made, such as paint, such as landscaping, that kind of thing, and now all of a sudden the pictures look different. It might cause some confusions in their mind, and it might also raise some questions in their mind about the house. What are they hiding? And it's not about, deliberate obfuscation. It's about being transparent as possible, and that raises a lot of doubt in people's minds. So you never get that second chance to make the first impression. So make those impactful changes before improvements and so forth, before the house gets listed and certainly shot professionally. And by the way, if your realtor is not using a professional photographer and they're using their iPhone to take those listing photos, my suggestion to you is to find out if they have an early termination fee, because you must remove them from your house immediately. That's a dereliction of duty, folks. Professional photos are not that expensive, and if they're not willing to spend the money for professional photos to spring for them, $200 maybe, then what kind of a marketing budget are they going to have for you? And marketing is everything. So what are the potential buyer's needs, right? So an unasked question oftentimes, the second one is, what is the buyer looking for in a home, right? So it's important, to be able to understand the buyer's priorities, because remember, all it takes is one buyer, to make a successful sale of your home. So go out and find that buyer, but know what their priorities, will be, and that can help of course, tailor negotiations or highlight specific features of the home which align with those buyers' needs. So your agent needs to be communicating with the agents that have shown the property, right? Showing time, they're ubiquitous in the U.S. I think they're basically used across the country. Showing time even has reports that can tell you in a specific neighborhood how many times homes in a certain price range have been shown. So that's all information that is available at the fingertips of your listing professional, and they need to be updating you with this kind of information. So um, make sure that they're following up, and if they're not, then ask them the question, and make sure that they are. And if not, again, find a listing professional, right? What can I say? Um, and because at the end of the day, the buyer's needs are all that matter. That's all that matters. Every single agent that shows one of my listings gets a follow-up call and or text from me to inquire about how the showing went, encouraging them to provide feedback, which I offer to my clients on an unfettered basis, because I think it's important to have candid feedback about the listing, because that way we know we have our finger on the pulse of the market and we know how the market is responding to our listing. But it's going to potentially speed up the sale. So another question that often goes unasked but should be is, what legal issues could affect the sale? Are there any liens, easements, or other legal issues that I should be aware of? Okay, well, there is a pre-listing, or I should say, a pre-listing packet that every single it's a questionnaire that every single title company provides, and during the listing appointment, when you know you're going to hire a listing professional, they should have with them a listing appointment checklist of some kind that is provided by their title company of choice, right? Their preferred title company that they have a good relationship with, and that's great. Go with their suggestion for whom they recommend. But fill out that questionnaire so that way you can start to open title at your title company, and that way if there are any potential issues, you get ahead of those, right? They'll start conducting the chain of title. What's that? Well, it's basically going back to the 1800s and saying, okay, well, this property was owned back 150 years ago by this person, who deeded it to this person, and that's a chain of title. And that assures, as part of the title commitment that is given to a buyer, it's always negotiable, but the seller in San Antonio typically pays for that typically. And I think they should, frankly. Why? Because you're giving that assurance to the buyer that your cousin Johnny's not going to come out of the woodwork and say, hey, where's my cut? I got a piece of that property too. Where's it at? No, that has already been researched by the title plants, and they can give the assurance you can give the assurance to your buyer through your agent, obviously, that that home is free of encumbrances, right? Any clouds on the title, as we say, right? So legal complications can either derail a sale, and they can certainly postpone a sale or delay it. Ask me how I know. I've got 2 under contract right now that for whatever reason, the sellers did not know properly, and with the help of an attorney or not an attorney, know that the home had good and marketable title. So that can again delay things, right? So sellers should know about any issues and try to resolve them, before even putting the home on the market. So another unasked questions is, what is the actual selling timeline, right? So how long does it realistically take to sell my home? That's another really good unasked question that perhaps should be asked. And the listing professional can help you, because we want to make sure that we're setting up logical and realistic expectations always, right? You never want to overpromise and underdeliver. Never, right? As real estate professionals, we never want to do that. We want to make sure that those expectations are aligned with their goals, and because we need to know, more or less how quickly a home will sell, based on market conditions, based on activity in a specific neighborhood. And remember, there's over 19,000 subdivisions in San Antonio alone, and the 505 square miles and comprises, greater San Antonio. So it's important to know more or less. We have no crystal ball, but we don't. Again, if we price the home correctly, and we've done our due diligence, then and we've prepared the home for sale. We've gotten all of the items addressed that I've been talking about. Then it should be an expedient sale, especially if the marketing is there to do so, right? We as real estate professionals can set those realistic expectations based on the recent sales of similar homes, and of course empirical data. And that leads me into the final question, which is, how will my home be marketed, right? What is the agent's marketing strategy? Super important. I think you've seen from other videos of mine, how we market properties, which is unlike how anybody else does, right? We do target marketing to find the most ideal and opportune buyers, right? Not everybody, actually nobody does that. I was gonna say not everybody does that. Nobody does. But the effective marketing is so crucial for attracting those potential buyers. And remember, the most opportune buyers, the most likely to be interested in that particular kind of home, right? The specific home. And the sellers, should ask their agent about, online listings, what their social media strategies are, because, hey, look, we all know how important social media is to today's society, right? Other tactics that will be used, to market the home. I have a checklist. I love to offer my pre-listing guide that has some of the key questions that you could be asking your real estate professional. And I do encourage you to reach out to me to ask me for a copy of that. I've got it in a really nice glossy printed format. I'll be happy to mail that to your address. If you're looking to interview agents here in the near future, or maybe even if it's next year, I'd like for you to know what we can do for you if you wanted to engage in a conversation with us. But more importantly, at no obligation, if you want to just reach out, just ask some simple questions. You can see I like to be a resource to the public, and that's really the gist of this video, is just to kind of address some of those unasked questions, oftentimes unasked questions, right? And overlooking these questions is really something you want to avoid as a home seller. And you're going to want to know critical information that could impact not only your decision, but your to sell your home, and with whom you should work, but also the overall satisfaction of that home selling process, right? So ensuring that these questions are addressed, can lead to smoother transactions and certainly, better outcomes. So I'm Realtor Bert today. I'm also broker owner of Santino Properties LLC. And hopefully this information has been helpful for you and of service to you. Be sure to reach out with any questions you might have, and feel free to leave me a comment below to tell me how you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.